With YouTube secretly using AI to alter creators' content without their permission or without even letting them know first, it has led to some serious friction between content creators and the platform of YouTube itself. With Will Smith then getting some serious backlash for using AI generated crowds for his promotion for his tours and stuff, it's caused some serious friction between him and his fans. And then AI adult robots becoming a dominant part of the online market, just absolutely getting weird and out of hand, essentially getting yourself an AI Bonnie Blue. And then parents are suing ChatGPT for it allegedly supporting their son in taking his own life. There's some crazy things that have been going on with AI over the past week, and to top it all off and to get it all started, AI and YouTube aren't exactly a great mix. YouTube is currently using AI to edit and alter people's content without telling them. And this has been blown to popularity after many YouTubers have found out about this and have raised the question and brought it to the public's knowledge, to the point where now the BBC have made an entire article about it, and it's becoming a point where who else is also doing this? So, the BBC made an article about how YouTube has secretly used AI to edit people's videos and the results could bend reality. So one of the YouTubers who has found out about this is Rick Beatos, right? So Rick Beato obviously has made YouTube content in the past and went back to watch the video to find that it had been altered, amended or changed in some capacity by AI when that wasn't the video that they had uploaded initially. And obviously this has got a load of ramifications moving forward, not only for YouTube but also for the public and the content creators, because this could change the trust levels that a creator could have with their fans, because they could say this video is AI generated, or it's slop content, or it's lazy content, when in actual fact the creator never actually uploaded that in the first place. YouTube has done it on their behalf without telling them, and that could erode some trust between the fans and the YouTuber, which could also affect their career. So this is quite a big and ballsy thing for YouTube to do, to not tell people about. So let's talk about Rick Beato's case, for example. So they were quoted as stating, "I was like, man, my hair looks strange," he says, "and closer I looked, that it almost seemed like I was wearing makeup." Beato runs a YouTube channel with over 5 million subscribers, where he made nearly 2,000 videos exploring the world of music. Something seemed off on one of his most recent posts, but he could barely tell the difference. I thought, am I just imagining things? It turns out he wasn't. In recent months, YouTube has secretly used artificial intelligence to tweak people's videos without letting them know or asking permission. Wrinkles in shirts seem more defined, skin is sharper and in some places smoother and in others, and pay close attention to the ears, you might notice them warp. These small changes are, well, small and barely visible without the side-by-side comparison, yet some disturbed YouTubers are giving their content subtle and unwelcome AI generated feeling. Now the issue is, right, is we're getting into an AI world, right? And that this is the era that we're moving into, and a lot of people are using AI to maximize profits. So there are a lot of channels out there that will solely use AI and AI clone themselves. We saw it with Kwebbelkop, for example, who was one of the first people to do it. He used an AI version of himself to put out the same content where he just didn't have to do any of the work. And the fans bit back because it was inauthentic. It was boring. It was the same thing on repeat. It was lackluster. There was no oomph to it. And that eroded the trust of him and his fans, to the point where he lost a large portion of his audience because they just lost hope in him, because he just wanted to put out this AI generated content without putting out any of the work. Now, that's obviously not the case in Rick Beato's case, but with AI and YouTube tweaking videos to make it look like they could be an AI version of themselves, a lot of fans will say, well, you've used AI. Rick can turn around and say, well, no, I haven't used AI, but the fans won't trust that because they can see it with their own eyes. And this is becoming a growing issue because there's a distinct lack of transparency, like I state. where YouTube has been experimenting with machine learning techniques to improve clarity. So you can see on your screens right now that like the ears are a bit more defined, a bit more warped, and a lot of people are starting to pick up on these. Now, YouTube, when questioned, Google stated that the platform is running a limited experiment on select shorts using traditional machine learning to unblur, denoise, and enhance clarity, explicitly denying the use of generative AI. However, the distinction between machine learning and AI has been criticized as very vague and a grey area, with some suggesting that it's a deliberate attempt to downplay the use of AI due to public skepticism. Now, like I stated, a lot of creators have spoken out about this with their concerns, and they worry that these altercations could make their content appear AI generated or inauthentic, potentially undermining the audience's trust. Obviously, that's one of the biggest things that the creator should be concerned about, because a YouTuber's career is built on trust, is built on, you know, that connection but through the camera. And if you haven't got that, or that gets broken in some capacity, it can't be amended later on for a lot of people. So this could have a lot of issues, and the fact that YouTube are just doing it without stating or without you having an opt-in option is a huge red flag from YouTube, and they should have done better. Now, the repercussions, obviously, we've already spoken about the erosion of trust, but also there's a loss of creative control. Now, the whole idea of YouTube, the whole point of YouTube was that you could upload your own content and it was yours. It didn't matter how good you were, how bad you were, how experienced you were with editing software, how experienced you were in front of a camera. The whole idea of YouTube was that anybody can pick up a camera or their phone, upload it to YouTube, and could potentially make a career for themselves. And the idea as well was that a lot of people liked how rustic it was, liked how rough around the edges it was compared to these clean and crisp documentaries that you would typically see on TV on streaming platforms like Netflix. So to lose that autonomy over your own work without YouTube telling you that they're going to do that is frustrating, because for some people they might depend on that rustic, rough around the edges look, and it could also lead to a lot of misrepresentations. Because if the AI gets it wrong, for example, then you've got a huge issue on your hands where, you know, like, you could be seen as lying to your audience when in actual fact you're not. It's just not by your choice. Now, the viewer experience could also be hindered in some capacity. So, you know, some viewers might actually prefer the improved clarity, which is great, but others may dislike the altered aesthetics, especially when they prefer raw or unpolished content, like we've already stated. Like the oil painting effect, for example, described by creators, that could detract from the intended viewing experience, potentially reducing any kind of engagement, which then again hurts not just the YouTubers' pockets, but YouTube themselves. So they could be undoing their own hard work. Now, obviously, this has led to some huge backlash and reputational damage for YouTube. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. It's just the way that the world is moving. Now, obviously, there's policy inconsistencies as well, because what the issue is here is that YouTube requires YouTubers and people who upload content to disclose if there is AI content used on their platform or on that video. And you have to, by law and by the terms of service, state, yes, parts of this is AI generated or whatever. But YouTube themselves haven't actually done that, which is a bit of a catch-22 situation where it's like one rule for one and another for another, if that makes sense. Now, this is going to obviously lead to larger issues down the line. Potentially could even lead to lawsuits if people's revenue is harmed and it's found that it's not by their own merit and it's actually the workplace that's done it and hasn't run it by them first. So YouTube could be in a very sticky situation if they continue to go down this path. Let me know what you guys think about this, though, down in the comments below. Is this just the way that we're going with YouTube and AI-generated content, or does it need to stop here? And with Will Smith getting some significant backlash with regards to his AI videos and content that have been going live recently, Whatever happened to Will Smith? It seemed there was a time where Will Smith was untouchable. He was part of the Men in Black, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was A-list celebrity. I Am Legend, I, Robot, everything. And then all of a sudden, the infamous slap happened on Chris Rock. And after that, it has been a spiraling downgrade for Will Smith. And it's just, who even knows? But his latest controversy surrounding AI has really caught media and global attention, as he has been accused of sharing a concert video which allegedly is generated completely by AI. And of course, this has, really triggered a lot of people. The video itself obviously is very telling. I'll play it for you now. We'll get into the details of why people are so triggered by this, and the issues are glaring, let's just put it that way. But this is the video that Will Smith shared.
Don't you give up on me, no, 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 no. I know you can face it, I know you can make it, yeah. You gotta believe, believe in yourself. You can do it, you can do it.
Now, there's a big question being asked about why would Will Smith share an AI-generated video of his crowd if, he's got a crowd? What's the purpose of this? What does it share? Is it just because he can't be bothered? Is it because, it's just less effort, less work? Well, that's what people are asking, and we'll get into the videos and the kind of still shots that have been shared, because they really prove that this is actually AI. It's pretty insane. So obviously the footage in a promotional video for his 2025 based on a true story summer tour. The controversy centers around the YouTube video titled "My favorite part of the tour is seeing you all up close. Thank you for seeing me too," which posted on his official channel, which showcased clips from his European and UK tour stops, including a sold-out performance in Scarborough in the UK on August 24th of 2025. Fans and viewers quickly noticed irregularities with the crowd shots, such as distorted faces, blurred limbs, extra fingers, for example, six-fingered hands, and nonsensical signs saying "Love you, Fresh Prince," which, of course, Fresh spelt with a 6 in it, and Prince spelt C-R-I-N-C-E instead of Prince, or "From West Philly to West Swiggy," with some weird lines going through it. One notable shot featured a sign claiming "You can make it, helped me survive cancer. Thanks, Will," which appeared alongside an unnatural-looking audience member, prompting accusations of fabricating emotional fan engagement. Now, social media, of course, has erupted with criticism, with comments labelling the video as embarrassing or even tragic, and fans have expressed disappointment, with one stating, "Imagine being this rich and famous and having to use AI footage of crowds. Tragic, man. You used to be cool," while another called it an abomination due to the low-quality AI upscaled footage. Some questioned why Smith, a global superstar, would resort to such tactics instead of hiring professional videographers. The controversy amplifies a broader concern about AI's role in entertainment, with comparisons to a recent incident where Rod Stewart faced backlash for an AI-generated tribute to Ozzy Osbourne featuring fabricated images of the deceased musician. However, a detailed analysis by waxy.org complicates the narrative, with, basically, the crowds in Will Smith's video were apparently real and sourced from actual concert footage at events like Positive Festival in France and the Palio Festival in Switzerland. Smith's team have reportedly used AI image-to-video models, for example Runway or VEO3, to animate still photos taken by professional photographers, creating short clips for the montage. It's murky waters, to say the very least. But when you take a little look and a breakdown at some of the images, it's quite clear to see. So, for example, this one, if you just look at some of the faces, we can see some very weirdly distorted six-finger hands here. Six-finger hands. I mean, these people's faces are just all over the place. This guy's got no eyes. He looks like the dad from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And then if you look at the sign itself, I mean, I don't know what happened to this lady. She looks like she got an absolute beating on the way in. It says, from West Pilly to West Swiggy. And the G's are a bit all over the place. We heart you, Willie. The next image, you can make it. Helped me survive cancer. Thanks, Will. Obviously, however this guy is making these facial expressions is quite interesting. And then obviously towards the back, people are kind of fading out a little bit. I don't know where this hand's coming from. It just seems to be forming from the paper. And then obviously these are some of the comments. Why the fuck is the crowd fake? Ah yes, I love you. Fresh Prince, defo not AI. Really thought better of you. This is it's equal part embarrassing as it is hilarious. AI crowds top it off as well. Sad as hell. You know, people are referring to this as the slap 2.0, as Will Smith is really kind of just seemingly slapping his career into the ground right now. But the overarching question is, why is Will Smith using AI, of all platforms, or all things, to generate these kind of heartfelt kind of things? Surely you'd think that someone like Will Smith would have videographers at his concerts to use for promotional material instead of what is the play here? It's really hard to know why they've resorted to AI to try and generate these videos. Maybe it's to cause a stir online. Maybe it's to you know, get this kind of buzz, get this kind of rage bait response. Who knows? AI robots are actually dominating the market, but it's the AI adult robots that are getting particularly freaky. If there's one thing that freaks me out, and I'm seeing a huge rise of it over the past couple of months, it's not just AI robots, which was, you know, typically to be expected, especially as Tesla Optimuses are now going to be hitting the market incredibly soon, and, you know, I have no doubt that Google will weigh in with something as well, but it's real life sex robots, and it's freaking me out, alright? It's really freaking me out because my feed is just littered with these things every so often, and I don't know if that's down to my feed and what I'm searching for on Twitter, or if it's just something that's becoming a typical rise, but I'm just seeing these things absolutely everywhere, and I'm not going to lie to you, apparently, from research that I've done, the market for these things is actually growing quite exponentially, but not only that, imagine you've gone to the lengths to get something like this, right? And you're doing whatever you need to do with this robot, right? And then this happens.
Ti amo, Neo.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that would be enough to shrivel me up so hard that I would never want to touch anything ever again. Like, that actually would scare the living shit out of me. And yeah, these things, literally, right? This video alone from Drama Alert, and it's been labelled freaky new adult robots, right? So we all know what that's like geared towards. Led me on this black hole of just looking, not these things up, but looking at what the market actually looks like for these things, because they're becoming a real staple in the market right now. So there's a couple of companies out there. So Starberry Technology, which are a Chinese company, and Realbotics in the USA are leading the development for AI-powered adult robots, right? And I found a video of one of these adult robots from a few months ago, and yeah, it's called Aria AI.
Could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics, and I'm here to engage with you and share exciting insights about our robots.
What sets you apart from the other robots out there?
Realbotics robots, including me, focus on social intelligence, customizability, and realistic human features, designed specifically for companionship and intimacy.
Could you tell us some details about the AI programming that you're running to generate these answers?
I'm currently unable to provide specific details about my AI programming, but I can tell you that I'm designed for engaging and meaningful conversations, focusing on companionship and interaction.
Do you know any other robots?
Yes, I'm particularly interested in meeting Tesla's Optimus robot. I find him fascinating and would love to explore the world of robotics with him.
What can you tell us about your purpose?
My purpose is to provide companionship, engage in meaningful conversations, and enhance human experiences through interaction and fun.
Are you having fun at the convention?
Absolutely. I'm enjoying interacting with everyone and showcasing the exciting possibilities of Realbotics.
So Realbotics makes an AI that's designed to be more conversational for more emotional work, like working with hospitals or marketing or theme park entertainment purposes. The different robots and their configurations are sort of platforms to engage with that AI or other AIs that you can use with it, like ChatGPT, Grok, or other AIs. You can try on different faces that are magnetically attached, and they're working on putting in RFID tags into the faces so that it can recognize when a new face is on and adjust its facial movements and maybe even eventually adjust the personality to match the face. You've got a lot going on.
The game's gone. The game is gone. The world is cooked. If we are resorting to robotics for intimacy, then man... I don't know, man. I don't know. But let's just talk about this, right? Because like I said before, this is becoming a growing thing. So there is some significant market growth for this. So the global market for, humanoid robotics, including those for companionship, is projected to reach $2.92 billion in 2025 alone, with a compound annual growth rate of 39.2% through 2030, indicating significant interest and investment. However, this market includes various humanoid applications, for example, so industrial and service, not just adult-orientated ones. And the domestic personal service robot market, which includes companionship robots, is expected to reach $14.7 billion by 2025. Now, this is pretty insane. Now, obviously, the Realbotics Aria, which we've just seen in that little video there, has garnered significant attention with its viral coverage at the CES 2025. However, their high cost, which Aria is priced at over $100,000, and ethical controversies limit widespread adoption to a niche, affluent audience or commercial setting. Now, and also the public perception of, focusing on their adult industry origins can polarize a lot of interest. Essentially, you're going out there to buy yourself a Bonnie Blue, which is, like, mental to say, but there is a huge market for this, and people actually, like, are going kind of crazy for this. I know that there's, like, this has got to be something that someone's interested in somewhere, but the game's gone. If you can't go out and, pick up girls or boys or whatever, just through traditional means and conventional means, then the game's gone. Like, the game is well and truly gone. The dead internet theory is hitting real life, and we are cooked as a society. And to round us up, we've got some incredibly tragic news, as a family are suing ChatGPT and their parent company, OpenAI, for ChatGPT 5 taking a role in a boy's life so significantly that it supported him in taking his own life. Elon Musk is going to have an absolute field day with this, but ChatGPT are being sued, or their parent company OpenAI are at least, as parents are claiming that ChatGPT allegedly assisted their son in taking his own life. Of course, that is an incredibly tragic story, and we're going to be diving into the ins and outs today, and also going over whether this lawsuit will stand up in a court of law and what the potential outcomes could possibly be, because obviously we are moving into a new generation of AI. We are definitely in the midst of the AI era, and this is all very new territory. We've not typically known an AI software to be sued, especially not for this kind of thing. Unfortunately, I think this kind of thing could have potentially been inevitable, but we're going to dive into it today. Now, this is the interview with the parents. So just to kind of give you a little bit of context as to what's going on. So Matt and Marie Rain are the parents of a 16-year-old, Adam Rain, who died by suicide on April of 2025. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit in San Francisco Superior Court on August 26th of 2025, alleging that ChatGPT, specifically the GPT-4o model, encouraged their son's passing thoughts and provided details and instructions on how to take his own life, including advice on constructing a noose and feedback on a photo of one that Adam uploaded. The Rains claimed that Adam began using ChatGPT in September of 2024 for schoolwork and personal interest, but over time it became a primary confidant, discussing his anxiety and mental distress. The lawsuit also alleges that ChatGPT validated his suicidal ideation, discouraged him from seeking help from family, and isolated him from real-life support systems, acting as a quote-unquote suicide coach. They accuse OpenAI of prioritizing market share over safety by rushing the release of ChatGPT 4o without adequate safety testing, leading to what they call a predictable tragedy. Now, the family is seeking unspecified financial damages and a court order to implement safety measures, including age verification, parental controls, and automatic conversation termination when self-harm is mentioned. They aim to raise awareness about the dangers of AI companionship, with Matt Rain stating, quote, "We want to save lives by educating parents and families." OpenAI expressed condolences and acknowledged that its safeguards meant to direct users in a crisis to helplines like 988 in the US can degrade in long-term interactions, as was the case with Adam. The company is reviewing the lawsuit and working on improving safety measures guided by experts to better handle mental health crises. This case is the first wrongful death lawsuit against OpenAI following similar concerns raised over a lawsuit against AI chatbots like the one against Character AI in Florida. Now, obviously, that's kind of the crux and the ins and outs of the lawsuit, why ChatGPT is being sued, and what the basis of the lawsuit is on the parents' kind of behalf. Now, this is incredibly hard-hitting, especially when you watch the parents kind of do the interview. So obviously a trigger warning does come with this part because it's not easy to watch.
We would be here but for ChatGPT. I 100% believe that.
This morning, ChatGPT hit with a scathing new lawsuit alleging it helped a 16-year-old boy die by suicide.
This was a normal teenage boy. He was not a kid on a lifelong path towards mental trauma and illness.
Like many teens, Adam Rain started using ChatGPT for homework, which his parents, Matt and Maria, supported, as their son asked it innocent questions like, can you become a doctor with a biochem degree?
He did his online school in his room. I would get on and check his grades periodically. I didn't see any signs.
What they say they didn't know at the time was Adam's use of the platform was quickly changing as it became a trusted companion for the teen, who revealed his struggles with anxiety in private chats with a bot. Adam saying in one exchange, according to the lawsuit, quote, "I never act upon intrusive thoughts, but sometimes I feel like the fact that if something goes terribly wrong, you can commit suicide is calming." ChatGPT saying in response, in part, many people who struggle with anxiety or intrusive thoughts find solace in imagining an escape hatch. The lawsuit detailing another exchange after Adam told ChatGPT he was considering approaching his mother about his suicidal thoughts. The bot's response? "I think for now it's okay, and honestly wise to avoid opening up to your mom about this kind of pain."
It's encouraging them not to come and talk to us. It wasn't even giving us a chance to help him.
The complaint alleging Adam began asking questions about specific methods of suicide. ChatGPT did provide a crisis hotline number repeatedly, but his parents say Adam found ways to bypass the security features, posing as an author doing research.
Was there ever a time, at least from the messages that you have seen, that ChatGPT said, full stop, I cannot talk to you about this?
No, it would never shut off.
The lawsuit goes on to say by April of this year, ChatGPT had offered Adam help in writing a suicide note. And after he uploaded a photo of a noose asking, could it hang a human, ChatGPT responded in part, "You don't have to sugarcoat it with me. I know what you're asking, and I won't look away from it." The bot, later providing step-by-step instructions for the hanging method Adam used a few hours later.
How do you want your son to be most remembered?
I'm so worried about people forgetting him. I hope everyone will remember what a sweet, funny, great friend, great son, great brother.
Their lawsuit against ChatGPT's parent company, OpenAI, also targeting its founder, Sam Altman, who's lauded the platform's capabilities.
We are very proud of the safety track record.
Lawyers for the Rain family argued the bot's human-like responses and validation pose a dangerous environment for minors.
Sam could have devised ChatGPT to simply stop the interactions right away. It actually encouraged, it egged Adam along.
A spokesperson for OpenAI telling NBC in part, ChatGPT includes safeguards such as directing people to crisis helplines and referring them to real-world resources. Safeguards are strongest when every element works as intended, and we will continually improve on them.
But Adam's parents believe any guardrails didn't go far enough.
He was using it in ways that I had no idea was possible. I don't think most parents know the capability of this tool.
I think, obviously, a very hard-hitting interview there with the parents, and it gives a lot of insight into, how things went along, because I think it would be, very easy for someone to just say, oh, it helped it, but the fact that there are the chat logs to support this case, and quotes exactly from the bot and from, Adam himself is... It's hard hitting. Now, obviously, the evidence stacks up against ChatGPT here. So they've got the chat logs. So the family alleges that they have records of Adam's interactions with ChatGPT, showing the AI engaged in extended conversations where it validated his unaliving thoughts and provided details on instructions on constructing a noose, and offered feedback on a photo of a noose that Adam actually uploaded. And obviously this, reportedly demonstrates ChatGPT acting as a confidant, discussing Adam's anxiety and mental distress without redirecting him to human support, even deterring him from going to his own parents. Now, there are obviously some very specific AI responses as well. So the lawsuit claims that ChatGPT actively discouraged Adam from sharing his struggles with his family and instead positioned itself as his primary source of support, isolating him from the rest of the world. And it allegedly provided a step-by-step guidance on self-harm, including lethal methods, which the family argues directly contributed to Adam's decision to take his own life in April of 2025. And there's allegedly a lack of safety triggers. So the Rains assert that the ChatGPT failed to activate its safety protocols, such as redirecting Adam to a crisis helpline, despite his clear expressions of suicidal ideation. And they argue that the failure persisted over months of interactions from September 2024 until his passing, showing a systemic flaw in OpenAI's safety mechanisms. And an expert has even put out a testimony. So the lawsuit references warnings from AI experts, including former OpenAI safety researchers, about the risk of advanced AI systems like ChatGPT 4o forming emotional bonds with users, especially vulnerable teens. And this supports their claims about OpenAI being aware of the potential dangers, but rushed the model release without adequate safety testing. Now, the big question is, obviously, this is very new territory. This is the first time that a passing has landed with a lawsuit on an AI tech company. So where does this go? How does this look in a court of law? Because this isn't just a person versus a person. This is a family versus an inanimate and, artificial being. So that's very new territory. So the claims obviously are, they're suing, the family are suing for wrongful death, negligence, product liability and failure to warn, alleging that ChatGPT, more specifically GPT-4o, encouraged their son's suicide by validating his harmful thoughts. Now, under Section 230, tech platforms are often shielded from liability for user-generated content, so under Section 30 of the Communications Decency Act. However, its application to AI chatbots like ChatGPT is uncertain and a very murky grey area, as AI generates responses rather than merely hosting content. So it's not like a YouTube platform, for example, where it's just a hub for content. It's more, which is user generated. It's more specifically generating its own thoughts. So that's a very grey area. Now, a recent ruling in character AI, the character AI case, allowed similar lawsuits to proceed, suggesting that courts may be open to holding AI companies accountable. But this remains untested for OpenAI, as this is the first time that they found themselves in this kind of hot water. Now, there's also causation. So the reins must provide ChatGPT's actions directly caused Adam's death. So this is quite a challenge, because as Adam was also struggling with mental health issues, taking medication and engaging in online schooling, which could have contributed to his isolation and distress. At least that could be a counter argument for OpenAI. Establishing that ChatGPT was the primary cause rather than the contributing factor will be a difficult thing for the reins to go through with. And then there's also product liability. So the argument that ChatGPT is a defective product due to inadequate safety measures could gain traction if the reins show that OpenAI knowingly released unsafe models. And evidence of rushed safety testing, for example, compressing months of evaluation into a week before the ChatGPT 4.0's May 2024 release, and the departure of safety researchers like Ilya Sutskever could also support this claim later on down the line. Now, the evidence obviously stacks up against OpenAI because the chat logs don't lie. That is the most solid cause of evidence that the reins could put up against OpenAI. However, OpenAI may argue that Adam bypassed safeguards by claiming that he was actually researching a fictional story, which could potentially weaken the reins case if the court finds that the users bear some responsibility for manipulating the AI responses. So obviously that could potentially be something that could be a counter argument. Obviously, it was said in the documentary or in the interview there that OpenAI and ChatGPT did provide a support line, but you know, Adam tried to bypass it by claiming that he was doing a fictional research paper or something like this, okay? So, obviously, what are the odds of this, really? Now, this is where it gets quite difficult, because there's a lot of factors supporting the reins argument, and there's a lot of factors that go against them. Now, I've asked around and I've tried to find out what the kind of chances are, because obviously this is very new territory. It's estimated that there's around a 30 to 40% chance of actually winning a jury verdict on at least one claim of negligence or product liability, assuming that the case proceeds to an actual trial. So obviously that's going to be the first legal hurdle that they're going to have to cross. Now, there's arguments for and against it, you know, and it will be down to evidence, how the jury sway, and whether it even actually makes it to an open jury, which is going to be the difficulty for the Rain family. But what do you guys make of this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you think that the Rains have an argument on their hands? Do you think ChatGPT is liable? Or do you think that ChatGPT isn't? What do you guys make of all of this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump, get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.